Shalom and welcome to 2 Minutes of Torah. This year is entitled The Wells of Yitzchak and the Third Temple. There's not a lot of literature in the Torah regarding Yitzchak. A couple of parshas about Avram Avinu, end of Noah, Holy Well Har Habayit, Haisara. Toldos comes, some discussion about Yitzchak. Vayetze, Yaakov is already off, running away, and then the rest of Rashis. So there's one parsha on Toldos, not in any way an insult to Yitzchak. He really doesn't care about how many psukim are dedicated to him. But even within the parsha of Toldos, what do we have? What are the stories? So you have the ending, him wanting to give a bracha Tesa. He's together with Rivka in a public way, at least a way that's seen. And then people realize that's his wife, not his sister. And then a very strange series of psukim, the wells. He digs wells, and they fight over the wells. And he digs more wells, and they fight over the wells. He digs more wells, then they stop fighting over the wells. What's this all about? And he gives each one a name, the same name that Avram gave the wells. What is the message here? So cryptic. What do we need to know about Yitzchak's ability to dig wells and give them the same names that Avram Avinu had? So I think there's a few possibilities. I like to quote a few answers and then synthesize all the answers. I think they all go hand in hand. One possibility is to show us that Yitzchak, God forbid to think of Yitzchak as some kind of a nebuch. He couldn't even leave Israel to find his own wife. He couldn't leave Israel to run away from trouble. He had to stay in a little secure environment. He really wasn't capable of dealing with the outside world. Chas v'shalom. Yitzchak was a different personality than Avram and Yaakov, for sure. And what has his own personalities? What gadol doesn't have a different personality than another gadol? He might have been more outgoing. He was more reserved. That's fine. He wasn't a nebuch, chas v'shalom, to speak that way about the Avos. And to just tell us and teach us about Yitzchak, that he was a Gavra Rabbah in his own way, it teaches about the wells, among other things. But one message of the wells is that Yitzchak was able to fight for what was his, and if it was important to make it clear that this is his land, and he's continuing the Masorah from Avram Avinu, and it meant digging wells to show sovereignty, then he did that. It caused the ire among the people? Doesn't matter. So he was a Gavra. And the Torah is teaching us that to show. God forbid to think he was just some pushover and couldn't really deal with life. Not true. Rabbeinu Bechaya says that this demonstrated his Gevura, which that's his attribute that's given to him by the Balei Kabbalah. And the fact that he named the wells after Avram and continued it and didn't attribute himself in any way is a reason why his name stayed the same. Avram's name changed. Yaakov had addition to his name as well. And Rabbeinu Bechaya says that Yitzchak was only one of the Avos that kept his name, and it was in the merit of the fact that he kept the wells with Avram's names. Interesting idea as well. Another idea is the Ramban's. It says a simple pshat in the stories don't tell us much, but there's an allusion to the Mikdash. You have the first Mikdash, where there was fighting. Second Mikdash, there was fighting. It was destroyed. The third Mikdash, there will be no fighting. We're going to have it back, and it will stay forever. And that's the wells by Yitzchak fighting over the first and second, but not the third. But now let's get the most important point, in my opinion. I'm wondering if we could take a message from both. The Ramban that talks about the allusion to the wells have an allusion to the Mikdash, and the Gevura and the independence of Yitzchak Avinu put them together. The Plishtim tried to go ahead and close up the wells. There's no connection to Avram. And Yitzchak said, yes, there is. It caused tension. There's incitement. It caused the Plishtim to be upset with him. Who cares? This is his land, and he's going to assert sovereignty, And it can continue with the Masorah from Avram Avinu. I'm wondering if there's an unbelievable message in Tafshin Ayin Chet 2017 for all of us. We have a well that's been stopped up where the Goyim, Yamach Shemam, our enemies, say we have no connection to this well. And it's the most important well in the world. I'm referring to the Migdash and to the Har Habayit. And the UNESCO says we have no connection to Jerusalem, to the Western Wall, and certainly to the Temple Mount. The Arabs go ahead, dig up the whole place, hundreds of truckloads over the last 30 years. Just take it away, cart it away from the Temple Mount area, where they built an underground mosque, one of the biggest in the world, if not the biggest. And they're just taking up, they're filling up our well. And the most important well in the world, the Migdash, the Makom HaMigdash. So many holy Jews just say, well, nothing to do, just watch them destroy our well and wait for Hashem to send the Migdash from Shemayim. Until then, just watch them desecrate our place, throw up our hands and do nothing. It's a place by many holy Jews who I love and respect, but disagree with. When the enemy is trying to distance ourselves, the Jews, from our well, our holy well, we must follow Yitzchak's path and reclaim the well. And yes, the world won't be happy, and we'll be causing them tension, and they'll be upset with us. And many of our holy brothers will say, it's hitkarut b'goyim, we're inciting the Gentiles. And I say to all the holy brothers, just like Yitzchak incited the Plishtim by reclaiming his well, if that's what needs to be done, so too we must reclaim our well. And if the Goyim are upset by it, they're upset by it. So suicidal acts we don't do. We don't go to Ramallah and say, this is my town and I'm reclaiming Ramallah for myself. Everyone leave. That's a suicidal act. And even for the sake of reclaiming Kivush Haaretz, we don't do a suicidal act. But to go in and do a clear act of Kivush Haaretz and to state to the world, this is my well, this is my temple, this is my Temple Mount. And it goes back to Avram Avinu. It's not a suicidal act. It's an act that can have different results. One result is that we slowly will get it back. Other result is they're going to be upset with us. That's what happens with every kind of war, with any act of kivush, of capturing. So therefore, this is the act that we must do. So for those whose poskim say that one could go up and is comfortable with the areas where one's allowed, where one is not allowed, then in my opinion, not only can one go up, is it allowed to go up? It is an absolute mitzvah. And it is time to tell the world, this is ours. This is no one else's. And this goes back in our Masorah for thousands of years. And if you don't like it, too bad. You're upset by it, too bad. This is ours. And just like Yitzhak reclaimed his wells from Avram Avinu and said to the Goyim, it's clearly our well, my well and Avram's, and it will continue in my possession. We must go ahead and reclaim the most beautiful well in the world. And in Yitz Hashem, slowly, or maybe better, quickly, we'll go ahead and have this well. And we're going to draw water from this well. And we're going to start building this well. And before we know it, we're going to have the Mikdash back. We're going to have the Korbanot back. And we're going to have 200 mitzvot that we're lacking because we don't have the well. And then Yitz Hashem here, we'll have all 613 mitzvos so that the whole can reach the highest of spiritual levels once again. And then the world that we quote incited will benefit from the well as well, because they will be able to bring korbanot. They'll be able to go and daven there as well. And in Yitz Hashem, all will be well. B'meherav Yameinu. Shalom.